to...
Who are you talking to, Benny?
I don't know. I don't know. Hey everybody, let me share a story, a sad story. Alright, so you've seen some of our videos where we've taken the FireBird drag racing, and we had our best run last November. I think it was right before Thanksgiving, and almost hit 100 miles an hour. I think we did like a 13.9, and up until then the car had been running great, no issues whatsoever. And then ever since after that, we slowly started to develop this miss in the running. There's a slight misfire. And so early this spring I decided, well, hey, let's go ahead. We're not sure. It wasn't really throwing any codes, and it wasn't really acting up. So went ahead and thought, well, let me go ahead and do spark plugs and wires. It can't hurt. I worked on it 2015. I bought it in October of 15. It already had decent wires. I went ahead and checked all that. I had a fuel pump go out, so I decided, well, or not fuel pump, I'm sorry, had a water pump go out. Left me stranded in a Sam's parking lot. That wasn't fun, but we did bring it home on a U-Haul trailer, which was exciting. Anyway, so we put a new AC Delco water pump on there, and I thought, well, hey, I don't know a lot about the LT1 cars, but my mom and dad have this 94 Buick Roadmaster. My dad's, it's got 78,000 miles on it. So he's had a time or two with the Opti Spark and so forth. And I got a good deal on this car, which is why I bought it. So I knew the issues with an LT1, so to speak. So I thought, well, if I'm going to do the water pump, I don't know what the history is behind the Opti Spark, so I might as well just go ahead and do the Opti Spark too. And I didn't waste money. Let's walk back here real quick. I don't like to waste money, but I don't mind to spend money for good parts. So I went ahead and I bought a good MSD distributor. I thought, well, I know I want to run some autocross. I haven't done that yet, but I know I want to. I don't want to drive it spirited like it's made for. So let me go ahead and spend a little bit of money and put that on there. I think I got this for either $400 or $450 at the time, which was a great deal, because if you look at the prices now, this is about $630 depending on where you get it. So, like I said, we've been having missing issues. So I did the plugs and wires here, and it seemed like it ran a little bit better. But then what started happening was we'd be driving along, it seemed like it'd start up decent, it would run decent when cold, and then once you're doing, you might be running for about 15 minutes, running it between 45, 50 miles an hour, and all of a sudden you'd be cruising along real well, and then all of a sudden, just a weird, like the whole system just cut out and then came back in just really quick. I can't snap with the fingers with this left hand. And there's Bear checking out something. So anyways, and then the tack, the tack would be jumping, so it'd be dead, then it'd be jumping, then it'd be dead. So that's happened several times. And then even more recently, I'd just be driving and it would just quit. I drove to a mower shop to get some new blades and it just quit, and I'd have to...
Who are you talking to, Benny?
I don't know. Skit Guys reference. And so I came out from the mower shop, got my blades, came back out, and the crazy thing, it just cranked over, and it wouldn't start. I had to pump the gas to finally get it started. Now, one thing I haven't done is check the fuel pressure. I don't think that's the issue, but it could be playing a part. So, my AC Delco water pump started dripping again, and I thought, well, let's go ahead and replace that. And all of this time, I've been thinking, I've always wanted to do an LS swap. I didn't think I'd really do it on this car per se. I always thought like an older vehicle, but I do happen to like this car. And if you watch some of our recent videos this year, we went and drove test drove a Caprice. We were talking about getting a G8. I haven't thought about spending some serious cash and getting a Chevy SS, which is still a fun idea. But then what am I going to do with this? Space-wise, I wouldn't be able to keep this as well. So, and I'm not getting rid of the Suburban. I like the Suburban. So, at this time, I've just really come to the deciding factor that I'm going to keep this, but in order to keep this, I'm not going to keep throwing $630 into an ignition system that's just proven that it's not as reliable. you jump into like the truck, the one of the LS vehicles, they just start up, they're fine. And you know, I do understand with a swap issue, you're going to run into some snags. I do understand that. You know, I've got an engine that I'm looking at right now. I've got some people who could help me out, and I've got all the mechanical parts, you know, K-member and other parts to make the swap possible. Probably the only thing I'd really need to do would be maybe a different compressor, AC compressor, the airlines, different radiator. I'm thinking a 2-core aluminum job. But anyways, kind of rambling on here. Thanks for listening so far. But so for the time being, I don't have a place where I can just put it and forget it. So right now I decided, well, let me get a $50 water pump. Let me get a $50 OptiSpark. Let's put it back together. Let's see if it runs, see how it does. So this is going to be an interesting experiment. I'm hoping either to do the swap myself or be able to get somebody to help me out and you know, have this swapped by, I'm really kind of thinking by Cletus and Cars next year in April. That's what I'm kind of planning. I'd like to take it there. That's kind of an idea. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that's the idea. So I'd like to have it swapped and running dependably by then. So that's the plan. Now let's come back. Pardon junk. This is another project. Anyways, so here is a tale of 2 OptiSparks. It was the best of times, and it was the worst of times. And note for those listening, if you can tell me where that quote is from, we will mention you in a video on Instagram. So remind me of that. But if you can tell me where it was the best of times and it was the worst of times, you can tell me the author and the book that quote is from. We will mention you on Instagram. All right, so back to our scheduled program. So this is the $50 OptiSpark, probably from China. I have no idea. Thankfully, it comes with the correct adapter, and it seems to be in decent shape. It's $50, okay? And it has, if you look at the originals, I have mine, but I'm just not going to bring it out at the moment. But it does have these crazy sized hex head bolts, so I don't know what the inside looks like. I do not have that size, unfortunately. But let's look at the MSD real quick. I'm really not sure. This was oily. Now remember, this is a vented unit, so this was slightly oily, but that's kind of typical. You've got it stuck in, you know, the area. It's hooked into your camshaft. I'm sorry. So you know, what do you expect it to be doing? But anyways, so you know, it had some oil here, but I really can't tell, and I've really not worked with distributors, so I really don't know too much about this. I mean, distributor anywise. I worked a little bit on my 94 GMC, but it's really minute. I really don't know that much. But you can see it was a vented unit. I did have all my vent lines where they were supposed to be, but if you look real close, there does seem to be some sort of corrosion and discoloration on this piece. Now, I was expecting to see something on the inside here. I don't see anything there. But if you look at each of these pins for the cylinders, oops, each of them has some deposits, have some marks. So I don't know if it's been arcing and if this was what was causing our misfire, but I'm kind of leaning towards that. I have replaced the coil. I may need to look into another ignition control module. So, but like I said, I'm trying not to spend a whole lot of money on this setup. You know, I just need it, you know, to be drivable until I'm ready with my parts and everything to have it down and get it swapped out.